Hi, folks. Welcome to episode number 3 already of State of the Valley, our series that goes through everything that Lebanon Valley Speedway, or what I'm now referring to as potential tagline, Commander Motorsports Park. And we've got episode 3. I got a special guests here today, Chris and Tammy Cruz, who are the promoters of the Lebanon Valley Go-Kart Track. So welcome, Tammy and Chris, to episode 3 of State of the Valley. So this is all about you guys, and this is one that's near and dear to my heart. We've got a little prop here, a little juice box, but we're going to get into a little bit back to the beginning. You guys recently, within the last 3 years, have taken over promoting the go-kart track, and I have to say have done an absolutely incredible job. Share with the folks a little bit, if you will, kind of the beginning, and walk us through a little bit to where we are today. We're almost done with the 2025 season, but at the end of this, there will be an announcement that maybe one more racing in the books. But let's go back to the beginning when you first took it over, what your goals were, where you're at right now, and what we can look forward to in the future. So, Chris, I'll start with you. I know that you're looking at Tammy, and I know you're shitting your pants right now, but that's okay.
We're just, it's all oriented about the kids and, them learning how to race and getting involved in the sport. And, that's, it's all about the kids.
And it's starting earlier and earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Evidenced by the juice box. What is the youngest racer in a juice box that you had at the kart track this year?
2 years old.
A 2-year-old
Yep.
with a full face helmet.
Yep.
Getting it done.
Yep.
And I can tell you people that you want to put a smile on your face. You watch these kids ride around these juice boxes that have a maximum speed of
7 miles an
7
hour?
miles.
7 miles an hour and no brakes. It's absolutely hilarious. And the smiles that it brings to their faces and to their parents' faces, it's just absolutely incredible. But the juice box is obviously the very, very beginning. The Commander Motorsports Park offering so many different varieties, anything with a motor and anything that goes fast or anything racing related, from the dragway, which we did an episode, the big dirt track, been there forever and famous in the Northeast. We just had a huge mud bog event this weekend. Yep. We have drifting events. That's huge out in the West Coast, starting to get a little bit bigger here. There's something for everyone there. And the go-kart track is kind of the launching pad. Obviously, if you've got a 2-year-old running around in one of these juice boxes, kind of walk us through the evolution, the different divisions, and what you host, or the slingshots, the motorcycles that you host on the track. Kind of walk us through the different divisions that are available for people to get involved.
They start off in the juice boxes, and then they go to Junior 1.
No, they go to box stock.
Or box stock. Is
That's why this marriage has lasted so long.
From 5 to 8, and then 8 to 10 is Junior 1, and then 10 to 12 is Junior 2, and then from 13 to 15 is Junior 3. But then once you get into the adult classes, we have people that are still 46 years old that are still racing karts, and the slingshot thing has gotten a little bit better here in New York, and we're working next year to hopefully make it even better.
Yeah, you're growing that organically, and it is tough. The slingshots are obviously introduced down with Tobias down in Pennsylvania. They're very, very big, but it's taken a little bit, but it's starting to catch on up here in the Northeast, and you guys are doing a great job with that. And my point is, a lot of the heritage, there's got to be, 5 generations deep? When we go over to the kart track every Saturday afternoon, all the guys that are racing modifieds or sportsmen or pro stocks, you've got all kinds of people introducing their children into racing. But you brought up a great point. Racing is an expensive sport.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Like everything else these days, right? But you can kind of fill your need for speed, and it's never ending. You got a 45 once you get into the adult classes, and you guys do a great job of following the rules and keeping it competitive, but it's for anyone, really.
Yes.
Talk us about this 2025 season. What were some of the highlights?
I would have to say the biggest highlight was the weekend of the Stephen LaRochelle race. Sorry, I get emotional. We ended up having 214 carts that weekend, which is absolutely phenomenal for a track in our region. We raced Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And Sunday we had, which was the Stephen LaRochelle Memorial Race, we only had a limited amount of classes, but we still had over 80 entries for the day. And that's just absolutely phenomenal, for our area. The support that we have gotten makes us want to do more and be able to, do as much as we can for the racers. I would have to say that was the biggest highlight of this year with that weekend. I looked out the window of the tower and Courtney ended up running upstairs because I couldn't talk anymore on the PA system because our area was completely packed. And
Yep.
that's what warms my heart is when I see all of the kids out there running around playing in the pet area and just having an absolute blast, because we are 100% about it being more of a family-oriented place than anything.
Yeah, it's all for the kids. The Stephen LaRochelle Memorial, this is the second year
Yes.
that you've done it. It exploded this year, and it's only going to get bigger and bigger. And Paul LaRochelle, one of our dear friends, helps you
Absolutely.
guys tremendously. We love and miss Steve LaRochelle tremendously, but we are carrying on his legacy,
Yes.
and you guys are a true testament of doing a phenomenal job of that. Leading into next year, is there any kind of changes or anything that you would share with the people in regard to potentially coming to Lebanon, trying out the karting? What if somebody wanted to get involved, and you do a great job on your Facebook page communicating with people. The things with the karts, there's so many different divisions and so many different rules and so many, but you guys do a great job of being completely reactive and guiding people through. And I know you'll hop onto your cell phone in an instant to be able to help people figure out what they need to know to be able to come try it out and become part of the program. So what would you say if somebody was interested in getting involved or getting their child involved? What's the first step, and what would they be looking at?
Well, it really all depends on their age limit, because all of the classes are by age. So we start there. My first question is how old is your child? And we have started, actually, the last promoter started years ago with our box stock class being a Harbor Freight motor that's only $200 to get your kid into a go-kart instead of a $1,500 motor. So we've been trying to work on making it a little bit more affordable to get the kids involved, because who wants to go out and spend $5,000-$6,000 to get their kid into a go-kart? And
Especially if you get some,
easily.
We know a lot of people that have gone national, and
yes,
it can get up to almost like the costs of open wheel full size cars at a certain extent.
From the ages of 2 to 4, you can literally come and rent this and try it for the weekend. This is our rental cart here. And
You mentioned to me this is Howard Commander's,
yes,
the one-time Howard Commander, the
Yes.
owner of Lebanon Valley
Yes.
Speedway race. This was his number.
yes, it was.
number
Yep.
33.
Can you share with why you only raced like one time?
He really never told us. I think the biggest thing is he really didn't like it. But when we introduced the juice box division, I had gone to Howard and I had, just let Howard know that, this was our plan. And it's actually one of his favorite classes. He does come over every Saturday morning, and he sits in his truck on the back stretch and watches the juice boxes. And he had said, why don't you get one so we can rent it out, so if somebody wants to try it out. And he had mentioned that, that he raced the 33 once. And so then when I lettered it up, I made sure that it was the 33.
The 30, Howard's number.
For Howard,
yeah.
yep.
A lot of people don't know this. He was a driver Ed teacher.
Yes.
So maybe there were some scars left over where he just couldn't get comfortable. I'm not really sure, but that's for another episode. We sit down with Howard.
Yeah.
So that's great insight and a great option for people that want to come out, see what this is all about, try it for the weekend at an absolute minimal cost.
Yep.
And let me ask you this. Of the people that have rented it, how many have come back or dove in and gotten their child a juice box?
Quite a few have. I can't tell you exactly how many. I probably should have kind of taken track of it. But quite a few have. A few of them have come back and rented it multiple times. But we also are introducing a new class this year, which we haven't made a name for it yet because I really don't want to call it the Juice Box because the Juice Box is actually a series from down in Florida. And we follow their rules and regulations and everything for that. But the Radio Flyer, which this is a Radio Flyer 24 volt.
Yeah. It's the 36 volt
electric cart. They have a new one that's a 36 volt that goes up to 12 miles an hour. So we're introducing that this year for 5 and 6 year olds that are still just a little bit more too timid to get into a full size go-kart that goes a lot faster, that has a real motor on it instead of an electric motor. So that's exciting because, again, you're only spending $500 to get into kart racing instead of thousands of dollars to get into kart racing.
And as I mentioned, the cost of everything. I don't care what kind of sports you're doing. Anything. I'm a huge fan of anything to get these kids to put their cell phones down, go out, work with their hands, come out with their family, create something. You know, we know about the traditional soccer and the sports that have been around forever and the Little Leagues, which are absolutely wonderful. But what excites me is this is an opportunity for people to come in and learn about racing. And I've said on the prior 2 episodes with Ron Dwyer and a couple racers in the sportsman division, and then with Wayne Del Monte, I've talked to a lot of people this year that came out to Lebanon for the first time, and literally from right in our own backyard. Within, say, a 20-mile radius. We're 20 minutes from Albany. That said, I had no idea that this is what you guys do out here on a weekly basis. There's
still a lot of people that actually go to the big track that have no clue that there is a mini Lebanon Valley Speedway on the east end of the property that's dirt.
East end! East end!
When you say go-karts, they always think that it's the little asphalt track that's right outside of the speedway. So there is still so many people that don't realize that there is an actual mini high bank go-kart track all the way on the other side of the property. So that's what we've been trying to get out for the last few years, is trying to promote, that we're out there, that it's not just the little fun park type go-karts. It's a full deal racing.
And that's not a shot at you, Scott. Your Fun Park is phenomenal. But this is actually structured racing where you can get your feet wet, and you've got a flagger, and there's rules and regulations, and you can kind of get your feet wet. But that's kind of why we're doing this State of the Valley series, is to let people know that there is so much to offer. And for the first time, we're really starting to dive into the cross-marketing of the quote-unquote Commander Motorsports Park. There's also talk about potentially doing a radio-controlled track. Just has so much to offer. You run every Saturday.
Yes.
And then you also run some special shows on Friday nights, and that leans back into the slingshots.
Yep, and the motorcycles.
Is the schedule going to stay the same for next year?
Yes. I mean, we're working on some other stuff. We want to have a huge weekend with a band and stuff, middle toward the end of the year. That's going to be a big weekend. That's probably going to be the 178 weekend.
Yep. So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was. I mean, again, the second year you did the chicken barbecue, and it was just a full day. Just a phenomenal job that you guys did with that. So you guys are the definition of a racing family. Chris, I know that you've got history in racing. You dove in. Share with the folks a little bit about what your history in racing. Your daughter Courtney had a phenomenal kart career.
Yep.
Talk to us a little bit about your history.
Like the late 90s, I started racing cannonballs and then, moved on to the rookies and IMCA for a few years and then Pro Stock. And then in 2007, I got out just for other reasons. And then Courtney started getting into racing. So she started racing in like 2013. And, we traveled all over the place as a family, and she's actually 2-time track champion at Lebanon. And raced a lot of stuff in Pennsylvania, raced in North Carolina. And then she got older and went on to different things, and, we just still stayed involved.
Right.
Because, we had the most fun car racing out of anything. So
it is a little bit different as you progress through,
Yep.
The different levels of racing. It gets very expensive. We all know
for
that.
Sure.
It gets very competitive.
Oh, for sure.
And that's one thing I love about the karts.
Yep.
Everybody's equal. It's an equal playing field. Yep. There's not a lot that you can do, and you just go out and it's talent versus talent. And a great example of these kids progressing is Brexley Hartman. Right?
Correct.
So Tim Hartman is our sportsman champion. I don't know how many years in a row, but is the dominating car at Lebanon Valley Speedway. And Brexley's his daughter.
Correct.
And tell me about her progression.
Well, she started off in these last year and now has moved on to the box stock. She actually had a win or two this year in the box stock. And, they're having a blast. So
they all share that with me. When I see them over at the big track on Saturday nights, which we've been running forever on Saturday nights, they are there literally from 9 o'clock in the morning until midnight. But their favorite part is absolutely 100% watching their kids progress. And Zach Sorrentino has a little one also.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Adeline started in the juice boxes at, I believe she was 3 years old. And then she moved up to the 4 and 5 year olds this year. And we have been told that he is buying her a cage cart for next year. So it's another stepping stone on getting into regular karting, because when they do graduate from the juice boxes, they do have a choice of either going into a regular flat cart or a cage cart.
Right.
And it's just funny because a lot of the per se racers that are racing at 100 to 150 miles an hour over at the big track are too afraid to put their kids into a regular flat cart. They have to have a cage around them, which at least that there's an option out there for that.
Yep, absolutely.
Because I do get it. I do, like Chris said, our daughter raced flat carts. She also raced cage carts. But so I do get where the fear is of your baby being out there, because it is a dangerous sport. Any type of racing it is a dangerous sport. Something can happen, and so it's just great to be able to see. I mean, and then you have the Larkins, so you have three-time generation there.
3 generations, yep.
They started this year in the cage carts. And then you have Mark Johnson, which is which is a big block modified driver over there. His son is racing, and he also gets into a cage cart too once in a while over at the kart track to have a little bit of fun and get out there with Kobe Schroeder and a couple of their crew guys and stuff like that, and just go out there and have fun. And that's what it's all about is it being family oriented.
Absolutely.
And Neil Stratton also.
Yep. Neil Stratton.
God, yeah.
Neil Stratton, which is a full.
It's 3 generations. So.
Hector.
They're from Albany, Saratoga. They race Lebanon Valley periodically, but they do come every Saturday. And their son is racing cage karts also now. And then you have the Armstrongs. Which is another big block modified driver, and they actually have their daughter and their son racing. Their daughter races juice boxes, and I believe she is going to move up to the new juice box.
Moving on up.
That's the 36 volt to go a little bit faster next year, so she can hopefully eventually get into a regular cart.
The stage of the progression, easing on into it. Well, these people love it so much. You guys just announced your season was done. But
did.
hold the phone.
Hold the phone.
Hold the phone. We're not done yet.
No, we've
So
gotten a lot
what's
of
going on?
we've gotten a lot of people calling us and begging us to put on another race. So we have decided to do the Halloween Havoc. And it's hard because this time of season, all of the big guys and stuff are racing in, Super Dirt Week and Eastern States and getting ready for North Carolina and everything. So the date that we have come up with is October 18th. We are going to put on a show on Saturday, the 18th, to let them get one more chance out there for the 2025 season.
Right, before we enter into the cabin fever
Yep.
mode of the racing. Thank God for Flow Racing and all the streaming from down south
Correct.
to keep us entertained until we wait for that April, the next April,
Yep.
to show up. Well, all right, guys. I appreciate sharing a little bit about what you all do, what your passion is.
Absolutely.
And
Appreciate
you guys are
having
doing
us.
a phenomenal job. And I hope that some people out there would reach out to Chris and Tammy. What's the best way to get a hold of you?
Our phone number, both of our phone numbers, I believe, are on our website, which is lvkarttrack.com. And then that's our personal phone number. It comes directly to us. It doesn't go to the track. Or Facebook. You can, if you message the Facebook page, it's either myself or my daughter, Courtney.
And the Facebook page is
Lebanon Valley Kart Track.
Lebanon Valley Kart Track.
Yep.
So that to initiate that, but as I mentioned, you guys are fantastic. You'll hop on the phone, you'll guide anyone through any questions, concerns, enthusiasms, anything that they may bring to the table to make sure that they're comfortable in dipping their toes in the water.
Yep.
So we're going to have your daughter Courtney come on here for a little bit and kind of talk about how her career went and how it progressed and what she's doing now with her photography business.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate you guys spending a little bit of time with us. So, folks, you get a chance on a Saturday afternoon. Next year is going to be bigger and better. Stop out to the Lebanon Valley Kart Track and see what Chris and Tammy Cruz have created and continue to build at a phenomenal rate. Okay, we're continuing on with episode 3 of State of the Valley, Go-Kart Edition. And now joining us is a 2-time former champion at the Lebanon Valley Go-Kart Track and beyond, Miss Courtney Cruz. Welcome,
Hi.
Courtney.
Thank you.
It's good to have you. Can you speak up a little bit? Are you breathing? Hello? I don't know who's more nervous, your father or you.
No.
Let it all out.
They are spitting images of each other.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, Courtney, tell us about your history as far as the kart racing is concerned.
So I started in 2013, racing at Lebanon Valley. I grew up with Steve Sheill, Nelson Bilot, and I was always bullied. When are you going to get into a kart? When are you going to get into a kart? And at the time, I was really into softball. I wanted nothing to do with it. Woke up one day, I said, Dad, I want to race. So that next week, we went over, watched Steve race, and the rest was history.
The rest is history. So share with us real quickly, kind of snapshot of your career.
Yeah, so I raced from everywhere in New York. We would go to Pennsylvania for the BMS series. And then over the winter, we would go to North Carolina to race Williamson. Yeah.
So now you've gotten out of it.
Yeah.
One thing that we had touched on earlier was the Predator series.
Yes.
And this is a series more towards people who enjoy racing, can't afford or don't have the time or for whatever reason want to get their fix. And that Predator series is an affordable way for adults. Chris had mentioned that you had a 45-year-old guy. There are older people that race in that unlimited age series, if you will. Talk to us with it. And that came about after you had kind of gotten out, correct?
When I raced still, we raced the Wing Champ series, and they did like the heavy tire Predator. It's like an offcut of what we do. It's still a thing, but it's kind of like a low budget thing where, you have an older chassis, you go get a Harbor Freight motor, strap it on and go. And that's where we kind of took that, and that's what the 178 now is.
Okay.
So anyone can, I guess like for me, it's interesting to see some of the guys that I used to race with that now are racing that because they fully don't want to get out of it, but still want something. Like, Pat Stearns came back this year.
Yep.
With a Predator, which was, it's cool to see the guys that, me as a little 14, 15-year-old girl moving up the ranks. And then, when I hit 15, at the time there was a restrictor or you could go pro, it was called.
Yeah.
So at that 15 mark, you kind of made that decision. And we jumped up and, I was then racing with guys that were my dad's age,
Yep.
my grandfather's age. So that was kind of cool, because I'd go back to school and everyone would be like, oh yeah, who'd you race with this weekend? Everyone thought I'd be racing with kids. No, race with an old man this weekend. And I beat them, know. So,
well, it's great to see that, Olden Dwyer's an absolute dear friend of mine, and he's since retired due to business obligations, but him and his boy Sprocket, invested in a couple go-karts, and they still come out and get their fix, and it's just awesome to be able to see that.
It's definitely a cheaper way to get back into racing, where, you, like she said, it's a Harbor Freight motor or it's a car motor. That's only a $300 motor that you're putting on the cart instead of, $1,500. And then it's also an open wheels or open tire package, so you can pick and choose what you want to use for tires. So it's not, because the karting game is a lot to do with tires and the drivers and how you prep the tires, and where the big track you're not allowed to prep tires, where the go-kart track it's
I've learned that.
Yeah, it's all about prepping and stuff like that. So the budget Predator class was brought to us by a promoter out west, and we just changed it up a little bit this past year to try to grow our class a little bit more, and it did. It grew really, really well this year, because again, we want to make it more affordable for people to come out and have fun as a family. And usually if you bring the adults in, then they'll get their kids into it, and then they want to race, because it is all about, like we said before, it is all about the kids. Yep. But when it so it's a more affordable way of getting into kart racing, because you only have a Harbor Freight or a Dakar motor, which are basically the same type of motor. The Dakar motor is just more of a actually engine built, not, I don't want to say it, but Chinese made production type thing.
So there's still a chance for somebody that just wants to jump in, that
fun.
Can be absolutely affordable. It's 10 tiers above going to your local fair. Right. And again, no offense, Scott. You're Fun Flex parts and riding it, with governors on them and that type of thing. So, Courtney, what have you morphed into? What are you doing now?
So I've stepped away from racing. I raced 3 times this year. Last year was the first annual Steve Lavichelle race, and after the event, we were like, oh, I really wish I was out there, So this year I raced for the Doucette family, which was really nice, and very thankful for that. So I'm still in it, but not in it fully. And I hope to be back in it again next year. But aside from that, I am the track photographer at Lebanon Valley Kart Track. So I started photography in high school, and really haven't looked back since.
Good for you.
I actually started shooting at Lebanon Valley Speedway. I got a camera for Christmas one year because I wanted it, and I'd just go over. My dad wasn't racing at that time, but I just go hang out with my friends. I grew up at the Valley. It's all that I know. Yep. So going to hang out with my friends, we would go over there. Saturday nights, we would camp, and then I would race Sundays at the go-kart track when the go-kart track raced on Sundays. And I would just point and shoot. I really didn't know much at that point.
Well, we talked a little bit this year. You did some great We called it Media
Yeah.
Day for a lot of the karts, and we're certainly going to show
Yeah.
some of the examples of that as what you have to offer. If somebody wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way to get a hold of you? Would it be through the Lebanon Valley Kart Track?
Yeah, so you can actually go right on the Kart Track Facebook page and or their website, and my link is right there, or you can just go directly to my photography page on Facebook at c.c.photography.
Okay.
So,
All right. Well, fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, that about wraps it up. Episode 3, State of the Valley Go-Kart Edition. Come on out to Lebanon Valley Speedway. Check out the go-kart track on Saturday, and I guarantee you, you won't be disappointed.